Hi, it's Cosmoem here. My name is Cem. First, I will talk about our motivation. As you know, COVID-19 pandemic keeps spreading and affect our lives. Some countries have limited hospitalization service, so we need to figure out who needs more healthcare support. And our second goal is observing effects of the vaccines on pandemic. So let's go with the first part. For the first part, we find a dataset that includes individual patient data. In this dataset, we have over 50 feature and almost 12,000 records. We use correlation method to find out which attributes affects outcome most. As you can see, we listed 8 attributes and we created a heat map of them. By using this data, we trained 4 different machine learning model. We used 25% of them for test, and here is the accuracy scores of the models. As you can see, 3 models have the same accuracy score, so we need to find better understanding on the models. So we created an RLC table. To create this table, we used tenfold cross-validation method. This method basically splits dataset into 10 parts and creates a model for each part. And in the end, it finds average of accuracy. So we find better accuracy score of the models. As you can see, KNN model has the best accuracy. So we can say that KNN is the best model for this prediction. Let's go with the second part.
As can be seen, the number of cases increased more rapidly after January and February. By looking at this graph, we can reach the following comments. The virus has spread very quickly and countries have not fulfilled their duty. So, would you like to see what the increase in the number of cases depends on? Let's see together. We can see in the graph that America and India have a large number of cases. Population density and the development status of countries can be shown as the reason for this. Here we see the death tolls. Looking at the ratio, we can say that not every country is effective in combating the pandemic. In the graph here, you can see the increase in the number of cases.
We see a graph that has 2 lines that goes up. Decent line shows that the cases increases day by day, but the one with the dashed means predicted numbers of cases. As we understand that there is a sharp similarity between them. As we see on the graph, there are increased rates of the cases for each country. While the space gets bigger, rate getting more. We realize that US has the most increment by daily data. When we look for the death rates, we see US again for this data. It has to mention that these numbers of death just because of COVID-19. We can say yes to this question. It will be seen that the rate that is around 2% when the proportions with the countries on the right rather than the deaths reported by the countries on the left are taken into account. There is a different graph for numbers of death for each country. While the number gets high, each circle that specifies the country gets bigger and take position high on the table. For this graph, what we have is that numbers of vaccination for small countries. It means that there are small quantity for vaccination. We see countries that have no big population. The reason behind that is that these countries have most vaccinated people rate, even some of them are completed their vaccination programs.
We have obtained a quote output showing the vaccination status around the world. As can be seen, the vaccination rate in America and Europe is quite high. We realized that the common points of these countries with a high vaccination rate are strong economy, high politics, and a strong military power. We see that the continent with the lowest vaccination rate is Africa. On the contrary, the poverty rate in these countries is very high. In our opinion, The field of health should be spread equally to all people. Everyone should have equal access to medical materials. However, in the conclusion we made by looking at the output of the code we wrote, unfortunately, this situation cannot be achieved in the current order. When vaccines first come out, most people couldn't trust them. However, with the tests and increase in the vaccine rate, people started to trust a little more. Many vaccines producing companies have emerged. In our visualization, we have listed the vaccines that people tend to the most. As can be seen, Oxford, BioNTech, and Moderna were the most preferred vaccines. In this part, we wanted to show in which regions of the world the vaccine companies use it are mostly used. In this part, we have created tables showing the total vaccines and daily vaccine status. If we look at our outputs, we see that China is by far the country that makes the most vaccines to its population. When we look at the daily vaccine status situation, we have seen that the people of the United States were the most trusting people at the first. In addition, the amount increased the Japanese people after starting slowly and building confidence is a remarkable point. In this graph, which we drew with the help of Seaborn, we visualized the vaccine status of countries in a different way.